The Wire is an ensemble piece with an immense and varied cast, but the biggest character of all is the city it's set in. Baltimore is the kind of place that arouses strong emotions.
I mean, the first thing I heard when I arrived in the airport in BWI was some woman walking through the airport going, "Let's get the hell out of this place."
Baltimore is an underdog kind of city, you know, so it did actually remind me in a way of, you know, having come from the other side of the Atlantic, somewhere like Dublin, or the way Dublin used to be.
Coming from East London, I could see the parallels. I was like, okay, I kind of get it.
By setting it in a place like that, you make it generic for all the other places like that, and there are a lot of places in the world that are trying to find their way.
Baltimore, in one respect, is all of America. When you look at The Wire from the beginning through the middle to the end, the issues that we are hitting on are issues that plague every inner city in America.
Speaking of issues, the police in The Wire are riddled with them. Take booze-liking Jimmy McNulty, an obsessive, well-intentioned yet self-destructive cop who really ought to arrest himself. He's a sort of one-man Pogues gig played by Yorkshire's own Dominic West.
This scene where McNulty takes two goes to smash up his car. It's a good scene. He's always been exactly that man, a man who will bang his head up against the wall until he feels that he's destroyed himself sufficiently for that day.
The job will not save you, Jimmy. It won't make you whole, it won't fill your ass up.
I don't know. A good case.
Ends. They all end.
Detective Lester Freeman is the yin to McNulty's yang, a pragmatic, methodical presence, unruffled, philosophical and perpetually suave. He's played by velvet-throated Clark Peters.
I think in one respect we're cut from the same cloth in that we both want to do the right thing. Except he'll screw it up at every turn, and I'll try to get it right.
We're good at this, Lester. In this town, we're as good as it gets.
Natural police.
Yes, natural police.
I think a lot of people like Lester, on both sides of the law. Yeah, police officers compliment Lester on doing the right thing and being the voice for those who want to do right. The gangsters say, "Man, you're just too cool, but we're going to figure out a way to get around it."
A chief figure on the other side of the law is drug lord Russell Stringer Bell, who you suspect would be equally at home on Wall Street as Crackpipe Crescent. He's played by Hackney-born Idris Elba.
Stringer Bell, Idris Elba, he's uncanny.
I need you to hit somebody.
Murder ain't no thing. But this here's some assassination shit.
I tell you getting somebody, you getting them. I ain't asking.
Damn, Stringer on.
I gotta remind who the you work for.
Stringer Bell is just an amazing businessman who's just figured a way to sell drugs in a way that no one had thought of before.
He's a drug dealer, but he goes to night school and learns about economics, and he's a businessman, you know?
He works with a very old friend, his longtime partner, who is completely different from him.
You need a dead jackal type basically to do some shit like that, not a rumble tumble like Slim. Well, he gotta go. Ah, you a businessman. You wanna handle it like that. You don't wanna get all gangsta wild with it and shit, right?
Stringer Bell's story is about his transformation, or his want to transform.
When I was learning to drive and doing my driving test, I would just go into Stringer Bell mode, and it worked. I passed first time, thinking like Mr. Bell.
So, political cynicism, moral ambiguity and rich characterisation. By now you should have realised The Wire's just a little more nuanced than T.J. Hooker. I mean, imagine the creator of that describing it like this.
It's a treatise on the end of the American Empire and who we are as a people, what we've come to, and why we can no longer solve or even seriously address our own problems.
David's crucial quality is his lack of sentimentality and his refusal to mythologize anybody.
Not only does it, scrape beyond the surface, it sort of really digs to the bone of what, Baltimore and the politics in Baltimore is about.
This show is like an incisive look into the workings of a hard-pressed American city. It examines various groups and elements within that city, like, say, the cops or those working in the drug trade, or teachers or politicians or teenagers or the working class or the starving class, and it shows how they, they interact with each other, how they play off each other.
I think it took a couple of years before people realized that we were doing something different.
You are feeding off the violence and the despair of the drug trade. You're stealing from those who themselves are stealing the lifeblood from our city. You are a parasite who leeches off
just like you,
the culture of drugs. Excuse me? What?
I got the shotgun. Got the briefcase. It's on the game, though, right?
Well, I think one of the interesting things about The Wire is it's not really interested in traditional notions of morality at all. It's about institutions.
You see the police, and they're no better than the gangsters, the people they're chasing. Everyone is just trying to get by and do their job and do it to the best of their ability.
There's one particular scene when Bodie and McNulty are talking.
I've been out there since I was 13.
They are basically rival colleagues at work.
Bodie's actually being nostalgic about drug dealing and it's not like it was, and there are some bad guys out there now, and I don't really understand the game anymore.
This game is rigged, man. We like them little bitches on the chessboard.
It's very sad because in any other walk of life, it would end with him saying, I'm going to apply for something else, but he's a drug dealer, he is what he is.
You're a soldier, Bodie.
Whatever you are, whatever you commit to, it will somehow find a way to you.
My hood full of trouble, I'm good with my hustle. Make my money stretch like a muscle. I'm just a black man caught in the struggle. I'm just a black man caught in the struggle.
So you're thinking drugs?
In this town, what other crime is there?
There are events within The Wire kind of all the time that kind of mirror kind of life in Baltimore.
Basically, because what we're doing is just presenting life as it is.
We are constantly mangling up the historical reality of Baltimore's drug trade.
It's some fabricated names, but it's real. The kids over here kill each other. I know more about murder than you know about that camera.
If you'll get a character like Little Melvin, who was once one of the most notorious criminals in the city, acts in the series, plays a character called a Deacon, who's like a churchman.
Deacon, how'd you get by my people?
You can't turn away church folk. They ain't done in these parts. I play a part of a deacon, which is basically what I do from day to day. It's not an act. It's easy for me to tell kids, you need to find something else to do. I've been you. They're gonna catch you. If they don't catch you, they're gonna bring it with them. They're gonna give you 30 to life. You're going to a penitentiary, hopefully not one that I've been to, but if you do, you're gonna meet some guys that's got triple life and 40. They kill people, and when they don't kill them, they rape them. You fresh meat. You the last guy on the compound. You ain't gonna like it here.
Melvin Williams, Little Melvin, probably sold more heroin in the history of the state of Maryland than any other single individual.
A couple of 100 million, maybe more. You figure out whether I'm successful or not.
You're not going to be the top of the tier. Most of the kids in this town are not making that kind of money. Very few will retire from the game that way with the money they came into. 99 times out of 10, you're probably going to do life in prison in the federal system.
You're talking about drugs. That's a force of nature. That's sweeping leaves on a windy day, whoever the hell you are.
I think the war on drugs in America, at least while it began as a campaign against dangerous narcotics, it has now morphed into a war against the underclass.
There's a wonderful scene where Herc and Carver are cruising through the neighborhood and everybody's gone to the East Side versus West Side annual basketball game.
West Baltimore's on vacation.
Because the streets are empty, Herc says, wow, maybe we won, as if they'd actually won the drug war,
Drugs are more pure than they've ever been. They're more plentiful. The violence is greater.
The drug war is lost. There's no drug war. Forget it. It's nonsense. It doesn't exist. It'll never be won the way they're fighting it.
You can't even call this shit a war. Why not? Wars end.
If it was any other war, we'd have abandoned it by now.
Unless we take the profit out, it's going to go on and on and on, and my son is going to be part of this drive-by and these candlelight vigils. It's never going to change.
I don't think much is going to change. If I did, I think the show would be a lot less dark.
Despite having critical praise flung at it from all directions, The Wire has never quite achieved the audience it deserves, possibly because we live in a cruel and godless universe in which you might as well not bother doing anything, even finish this bloody sentence.
We've treated television as if it's not a mass medium, and we have been rewarded in kind.
I guess, maybe The Wire's failed to achieve the status of, Desperate Housewives because people are stupid.
The real reason is because it's all black people.
Well, it does have a lot of black people in it, but it's a great show.
When 60 to 70% of your cast is African American, and you put that on the screen for America, there is a certain percentage of the population that is not going to pay attention.
I would imagine that the thing that is so glorious about The Wire is exactly the thing that stops it from being mainstream television. It's complex and it's authentic, which means that it doesn't compromise with its narrative ambitions.
The episodes are cumulative. They build towards a season conclusion, much as a book would. Things are set in motion that have great relevance, but you have to commit to the book.
There's possibly not much concession made to a casual viewer, and neither should there be, because, why should everything be easy and why should everything be spoon-fed, pre-chewed?
We were not a hit, but we're very proud of the story we told, and it's the only one we wanted to tell.
Alongside its established characters and storylines, each season of The Wire introduces a fresh theme. Season 4, for instance, focused on the school system. The 5th and final season is set to examine the role of us bastards, the media.
If we got anything right about depicting the problems of the American city and why we can't even attend to those problems or even address them honestly, if we got anything about it right, then the next natural question, and probably the only remaining question, is, are we genuinely ignorant of what the problems are, or are we paying attention to something else? Have we become just about the most distracted and inconsequential people ever to be called a superpower? And so that naturally leads you to want to examine the media in this city. There are some profoundly destructive things going on. Somebody's out there watching all that Paris Hilton shit,
Yeah, he's right, Look, you're so distracted, you're not even listening to what I'm saying. You're just looking at this generic urban collage. I better turn up in Vision and summarise things. So there you go. The Wire is a unique show, one that breaks all known rules of television, richly rewards your attention and makes you think while it does so. If you ask me, it's nothing less than your civic duty to tune in, and if you're not convinced, go and watch Celebrity Goose Wrestling on ITV6.
Top of the world. We from the land of piranhas. Cameras on the corner. Watch what you say. Your man's an informer. Watch who you play. Just spent one day with him, but you ain't know they had the plague in them. For all the spots, all the blocks, this is B-more. You see the box, hit the shot, this is